Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of EFL Teacher Talk with Sean G. I'm Sean Gallagher, your host. Hey everybody, what's up? We have a starting a school episode for you today. Actually, it's the mailbag episode. I got I got like several different emails today from different people kind of like asking for advice, either directly or indirectly. And it was funny. They were all kind of related to the same thing. They all had to do with, starting a school, or, somebody had just started a school and they want to, figure out ways to promote their school. So I thought for today I could answer questions out of the mailbag, mainly about starting a school and building your customer base and things like that. So that's what we're going to do today. So anyway, the very first question was from Deidre, who is a new EFL, a new Central Japan Language Teachers Network. That's our Facebook group. She is a new member on there, and thank you for joining, Deidre, and she's up in Nagano. And she had the question, what are some good ways to advertise? And I thought there were some pretty good comments on the thread, but I thought I'd just roll them up here and maybe add a couple of my own. So of course, with advertising, there's always that thing. It's who is it? John Wanamaker. The guy, he said, this was an American, one of the first guys who did a lot of marketing and stuff like that. I think he said, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The only problem is I don't know which half, right? So I think as small school owners, I think we don't have access to a lot of analytics, and it is a little bit of guesswork. I personally try to use some analytics to make sure that we're spending our advertising money wisely. But yeah, especially when you're starting out, I think it's a little bit of guesswork. So having said that, obviously the very first thing, that the best marketing at any service, anywhere, any school, is obviously going to be word of mouth, which means you have a service that everybody likes and they're going to go talk to their friends to you about that. I think that kind of goes without saying almost, and I think even now at this stage, I've had my school for like 15 years. I think word of mouth is still like our number one way of finding new leads. So yeah, word of mouth, it's wonderful. You definitely need it. It should be your number one way to get new leads. But I think you can't rely only on word of mouth stuff. I think you need to be doing some other stuff to like supplement that. So some things that you can do, there's always print advertising, and I think it seems like maybe 10 years ago, print was a little bit more common. Making a flyer or, a chirashi in Japanese. You can stuff it in in the mailboxes, which is called posting in Japan. You can do an insert in a newspaper. You can hand out in front of a train station. Especially, I think with adult classes, I think that makes a little more sense to hand directly to somebody who might be a prospective customer. I think for the kids market, it's a little creepy. I don't think we've ever done that. I don't think we've ever handed out stuff in front of stations. But anyway, those are some things you can do. Obviously, you have your website that you should definitely pay attention to. I know in my case, I think we're almost entirely digital right now in all of our advertising and marketing that we're doing. So I do spend a lot of time on my website. I'm trying to get better at my social media stuff. I think we're okay with that right now. But yeah, social media, which is, your Facebook, maybe Twitter if you want to use it. I think we have a photo sharing service that we use as well. A couple other things just to maybe put in your advertising, bag of tricks. Once you have a decent website up, you can go back and do these, Google ads or this pay-per-click stuff where you're paying for traffic to your website, based on search terms. That is, I think that's also an effective method for us at my school. I know that some people, especially out in more rural areas, it seems like having contracts with local kindergartens might be a good way to also kind of get your name out in the community. People know you, and then they trust you, and then I think it kind of becomes a natural thing to maybe send them to your school for additional lessons. So those are all, I think, great ways to advertise your business. I think a step back from that, though, if you take a step back from the actual advertising and these different ways of trying to get the word out. I think before that, you need to, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you need to decide who you're selling stuff to. Who is your customer? You really need to decide what is the market that you're operating in. And I think this is also, a huge decision, and it's going to have a major effect. It's going to have major implications on the effectiveness of whatever advertising that you're choosing. And I know here at my school, it is kind of a loop. We choose a market and we go and advertise for it and we see what happens. And I think one of the reasons we've been fairly successful here is I tend to see what reactions we're getting. If we're not getting very good reactions, you might run a new ad, or suddenly we might be getting a bunch of inquiries for something that we kind of offer, but we don't 100% offer it. And then we might jump into that oh, hey, we should be offering, extended aftercare service for our kids, I think is an example of something recently that we've really moved into based on customer demand. So yeah, I think with your advertising, it's a dynamic thing. So I think, it's fun to kind of put stuff out, see what happens. And yeah, so I would say, good luck with that, Deidre, and everybody else who's out there starting a school or thinking of starting a school. Your market positioning, where are you in the market? Who are you selling to is a very important thing, in addition to all of the other, traditional advertising techniques that you can use to try and get some attention for your business. And then kind of mailbag item number 2, I have another friend who lives outside of Nagoya. I'm based in Nagoya. He lives outside of Nagoya, kind of in a rural area. And my friend, unfortunately, recently he lost his ALT job. It's one of those situations where it's this weird thing in Japan. You work somewhere for a long time, but suddenly they come back and they say, oh, we're not going to renew your contract this year. So I had a buddy that this happened to, and we've been going back and forth with emails, and he's trying to make a decision of whether to start a new school or to maybe find another job that's something similar to what he was doing before. So so just some factors to consider maybe before you go and start a school, because this is going to be a major thing in your life. Starting a business is just, it's a huge responsibility to take upon yourself. It's almost like having a child. It's going to take a lot of your time. I think it can be very rewarding, both financially and personally. And obviously I did it, and don't follow my advice. No, but no, seriously. So anyway, it's a huge commitment. So I think, just some things to think about maybe before you dive into the school owners, in the deep end of the school owners pool. I guess number 1 I have up here is just, are you Genki? Meaning that, do you have the energy to do this? Because I think because I'm thinking it in the context that my friend asked me. I think he was an ALT teacher for a long time. So it takes a lot of, you have to be on your game, man. You need to have a lot of energy to start a new business. And if you're kind of one of these people who just kind of likes to get up and go to work and go enjoy your weekends doing the stuff that you like to do, then, maybe being a school owner might not be for you. Because I know when I first started my school, my weekend was either, it was pretty much coming in and working. To get everything, make sure everything was going okay. Obviously, it'd take a little bit of time off, but not a lot. So another big decision to make if you're going to start a school, a partner or no partner. Huge decision. I think I personally would recommend no partner, but then on the other hand, I think you do have to have. I think you almost need to have somebody who's fluent in Japanese or almost fluent in Japanese who's going to help you with this thing. If that's yourself, I think it's okay. If it's not, if you're just a native English speaker and your Japanese isn't really that good, I'd say, you probably actually are going to need a business advisor or a partner to help you with this thing. And of course, that's a very difficult relationship to manage as well. So if it's somebody that you have a long time dealing with, and I would say not just on a personal basis, I would say hopefully you've had some sort of working basis with this person and not just purely a friendship-based relationship with this person. So yeah, partner or no partner, that's a huge decision to make. Another question that gets brought up, should I specialize in a niche or should I accept all ages? And this is an excellent question. I think what a lot of people do is they kind of throw the net out to see what comes back. And then, over the course of their first year, they slowly kind of refine and define who they are as a school. I think if you could do that, ideally, if you can do that at the beginning, if you know, like let's say if I started a school tomorrow, I personally would not be teaching young, like kindergarten classes. I don't like teaching kindergarten classes. I think I'm good at it. I can do it. I don't like it. That's not where I want my future to be. So I definitely, I would either hire someone else to do that, or I wouldn't teach those kinds of students if I were to start a new school like today. So, when deciding what, segment of the market that you want to target, you need to look at yourself. What are you interested in? And also what's out there. If you're in a rural area, maybe it might be hard to start business English lessons. Maybe there's not a big demand for that. Or who knows, maybe there is. Maybe there's nobody out there doing it and there is some sort of demand for it. So anyway, to specialize or not specialize, I would say ideally, yes, please try to specialize, because that means you've identified this group of customers already, rather than just kind of opening up and see what happens. Of course, a lot of people do it that way also, and it winds up working out, but it seems to take a little bit longer to do that. So I think what I would do if I was starting a school is I would probably have a full-time job and then also be making these inroads, checking on, hey, are you interested in studying with me? Try to set things up maybe while you already have, one source of income, so you're not desperate. Because when you're desperate, then you start taking everybody and things kind of get a little messy. And then the last thing, and that this was related to my friend's question, capital. Do you have capital? Do you have startup money? My friend was indicating that he didn't have a lot of capital. So to me, I'm almost like, well then why, you shouldn't really start a business if you don't have I mean, it's capitalism, It takes money to make money. It's not just I want to start a business and you can start a business. You actually need some money to throw into it. I think right at the beginning with my school, I needed at least like $5,000. This was a while ago too. I think I burned through like $10,000 setting up my school, and now it's fine and it's everything's okay right now. But yeah, I did have some money to start off with. So. And I think the amount that you're willing to put in at the beginning, your amount of capital will affect your growth rate. I know in my case, I think that I almost didn't put enough capital in. I was always self-funded. Even recently, we've moved locations, and I was a little bit conservative about the size of the location. I probably should have got a bigger place, but I didn't, because I was putting in all my own capital. So my capital was a little bit limited, but now my future growth is also kind of limited. So just be aware that there is that direct relationship there too. If you have more money going in, you're going to be able to grow faster. At the same time, obviously, you want to be careful to not, invest a huge amount of money if you don't know what you're doing yet. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that either. So I think just, gradually going in is good, unless you have a really hot model. And I think actually, in my case, I think I would be pretty comfortable investing some pretty decent chunks of money, just because I feel that I have a very good handle on what type of business model, what type of school business model would be effective or not in my area. So I think in my case, I would actually want more capital in my case. But if you're just starting out, it seems like playing it safe and going small might be a good thing to do. So. Yeah, so that's about it for this week. So the mailbag. If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to hit me up on the Facebook group, or if you're watching us on YouTube, you can leave a comment on this video. I'll always try to respond to a comment, and if the question has enough meat on the bones, I might make an episode about it as well. That's this thing. This is the subscription button to the YouTube channel. I noticed with our Facebook group, I have a bunch of videos that I've done for this group, but Facebook's not such a good archive. So over on the YouTube channel over here, it's very easily archived. You can go find all the back videos and all that stuff. Most of them, I think a couple of them might not be on there, but the majority of them are on there. So that's it for this evening on December, 15th, 2019. So thank you everybody very much for tuning in this week, and we wish you the best of luck in the holiday season. I hope everybody's holiday parties are going well, and signing off until next time. See ya.